On the phone, we have Michael. Michael, welcome to Equity Mates.
Hey boys, how's it going?
Very well. Thank you for submitting. Now, before we jump into it, can you give us a bit about yourself?
I've basically been investing for a couple of years now. I guess, I started in sort of ETFs and all that sort of thing, but over time, I just want to get a bit more exposure to some individual stocks.
Yes, Michael, now we're talking.
So basically, I just sort of wanted to sell off a few of the ETFs that I had that I wasn't really getting much from, and then sort of dive into a bit more risk, but then some more concentrated returns. So yeah.
Love it. Love
That's
it.
how you make money, mate. That's how you make money.
Luke is licking his lips. So, Ren, do you want to take us through the portfolio?
Yeah. I'll jump in before Luke takes over. So, Michael's portfolio starts with two ETFs, his two biggest holdings, the iShares S&P 500 ETF and the Vanguard FTSE Asia ex-Japan ETF. Together, they're a scratch over 40% of the portfolio. Then we have one thematic ETF, the BetaShares Cybersecurity Hack ETF. And then we've got 10 individual stocks, which make up 50% of the portfolio. So let's start in the US. Amazon, Mercado Libre, Meta, Netflix, Spotify, Uber, and Visa. And then coming home to Australia, we have Macquarie Group, Guzman y Gomez, and Cobram Estate Olives.
Awesome.
So, Luke,
awesome.
I can already see some of these names are like a red rag to a bull. But
Cell Tech, GYG.
Yeah.
Do you have a nickname to start?
Michael, it's not my best because I was on low time. Bryce sent this through about midnight on Sunday night and I've been busy. So it's the Fundy Fanboy.
Fundy Fanboy.
Okay, let's start at the top. If I was you and you're like, I'm not really willing to put 100% of my money in individual stocks that I pick, but I want active, I want to be more active, more concentrated, not own 5,000 stocks, maybe own 50. Like, go and get a good active manager. Like, I keep saying it, but instead of an ETF, use an active manager. It's that simple.
Look, Michael, I think getting Shaw out of Luke for your ETF portfolio is a good start.
Okay.
If you want to do the ETF thing, fine. I've got no qualms with it, right? All I'm saying is that for people who are like, listening to Michael talk, he's been like, I'm trying to get more concentration. I'm trying to, cool. All right. Well, there's a good way you can still do this core satellite thing you're all obsessed with. You can still do that without having to, in a way that's more aligned probably with what you're actually trying to do rather than just what everyone else is doing. So that's just my, a gut feel there. In terms of these stocks, like eyeballing those names, like they're all pretty much stocks I've owned at some stage in the past. So I would think they're pretty good businesses to hold long run. Macquarie's good. I think that actually looks pretty good at the moment. Pretty cheap. They've got, if you go back to their last result, they only really had the commodities trading business and their sort of volatile global markets business as the thing that was holding them back. We think that's kind of swung and going to turn for them now. So should be all systems go there at Macquarie.
Okay. Yep.
And then Cobram, I get why you've bought it. I understand, the appeal. I've heard some pretty average, so we do what I call channel checks, right? So we go and talk to people who work at companies. We go and talk to people who, supply companies. People who customers buy stuff off them, all those kind of things. And I've just had some pretty average feedback about Cobram. So I won't probably go any further than, and reveal my sources, but I think I've heard some pretty average things about that business. So whilst it maybe hasn't come through in financials or share price performance or any of that kind of stuff yet, and there's a lot of people who still like it, I wouldn't buy it on the basis of it's got a bit of a stink to it in my when it comes to me, right? So from what I've heard, now that's not a scientific sample. I'm not spoken to everyone, but I've just got to it'd have to be real cheap, and I'd have to really, really, really want to own it to buy it because I'm kind of just a bit sus on it. So just a light.
It's got a bit of a stink to it.
Yeah, light asterisk, penciled asterisk.
Just to try and bring a few actions here. If Michael wants to go with the roughly 45% of his portfolio at the moment is in ETFs, is it sort of a consolidate into a core VDHG or whatever, something similar? Because at the moment it's S&P 500 and then Asia ex-Japan. So missing a fair chunk of, I guess.
Yeah, I'd go to, probably go to an MSCI all-world type ETF. If you want to tilt that more to Asia, you could just bolt on another, a few percent in an Asian ETF or a whatever, like you've already kind of done. If you wanted to tilt that to like high beta kind of tech, you could keep the hack or you can get rid of it or, buy another one of those ETFs that they sell to you. So I just don't actually think, listening to you, that's kind of what you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest, I kind of do like having the more sort of direct exposure. So for example, with GYG and Cobram, that's sort of, there's a very low allocation there. So it's kind of more like, look, I'll just have that sitting there. Then if anything happens with it, then great. But if not, then like no harm kind of thing.
Michael, but you don't have percents to waste in a portfolio. So from what I can see here, you've got no limit on the kind of stocks you can buy or the market. You haven't put an investable universe around yourself here. You'll go anywhere, do anything. So you need your very, 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 very best 30 ideas or 20 ideas or 10 ideas, whatever you're going to run. So you don't have space to have like the bottom of the portfolio. You need to be like everything you need in this thing you need to love. Like today, best thing you can own.
You need to look Cobram Estate olives in the eye and figure out if you really love it.
Yeah.
Think about when you're picking stocks. Think, could I defend it with Luke? And if you couldn't stand up to Luke and say I believe in this stock, then I think that's probably a sign that your money's better spent elsewhere.
Like if you said to me, you genuinely think that Spotify is one of the best 30 businesses you can own on the planet, I'm going to have a hard time arguing with you. Like it is a ripper business, right? And it's inflecting profitability, elite management team, category killer, well worth the multiple. Actually not that expensive when you stack it up against some of the rubbish you pay for on the ASX. So, it is, I get it. Visa, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of...
the payment rails for the digital economy?
Is it?
Yeah.
You very sure about that?
Well, every digital payment startup still uses Visa and MasterCard.
That's why I bought it.
Yeah, and I think there's I'm just asking the question, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm like I said, you can own whatever you want. I don't I don't really have a view on these things.
I think it's a trend we see a lot though, Luke, which is a lot of, and I've done the same. You sit these small dollar amount or small percentage amount, thinking that let's just see what happens.
It's a lotto ticket. Everyone can disagree with me, but no one's the logic stands and holds up. Is if it's not a buy, it's a sell. There's no hold. There's no accumulate. There's no like. There is a little bit there where it's like plus or minus 5%, and you're sort of in the in the realms of where you think it's worth. But for a practical sense, there's some people that are talking to me online that writing comments on my stuff that comes out. They're like, I'd buy it on the dip. I'd buy it on the, and it's like, well, no, then it's a sell. And then you would buy it on the dip. And, if you think it's expensive, then you'd sell it now and you'd buy it back later when, it's cheap. And so I think this sort of fence sitting, it's bad because like brokers and financial advisors, they live by this stuff to try and get clients and convince them, to come and use their services because they never really say what they think. So, I would try and get yourself out of that mindset. Just think black and white. Is this cheap? Do I need to own it? Like it's that simple.
Yeah.
Nice. Michael, I'll give you Luke's personal number after this and you can give him a call and sort it out.
Yeah, sounds good.
But we have reached
I'm going to post those nudes if you do that, bro.
We have reached the end of today's session. So Michael, thank you so much for submitting. I hope out of all of that, there's been a few takeaways for you to put into action or at least to think about. But we do really appreciate you taking the time and submitting today.
No worries. Thank you.
Good man, Michael.
Awesome.
Michael.
And if you would like to submit to Pimp My Portfolio, head to equitymates.com/contact. If you'd also like to speak to Luke or any of our other handpicked advisors, head to equitymates.com/advice, fill out the form and we will connect you. But Luke, as always, it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure, Brycey.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.